plaintiff, Scott Lukowski, says the defendant is his son, and at the age of 12, he started smoking pot, and that led him to abusing pills. Scott claims the defendant ended up incarcerated after he robbed a delivery driver, and Scott's suing him for breach of contract and lost wages. Defendant Dustin Lukowski admits that he abused pills, which eventually led to a heroin addiction. But Dustin insists he's been clean for 3 years. Dustin is countersuing his father for unreturned property and lost wages.
Start with you.
Well, Judge, it's been a very rocky road with my son for many, many years. It all started off when he was about 12, and he got involved with doing marijuana and drugs. And then in his mid-teens, I want to say his 16 to 17s, he started doing pills, saw mood swings and things like this.
Were you in the household with him?
No, I was not in the household, but I had paid child support, had visitation with him and everything like that. In between that time, he was in juvenile justice system and things like that. And in his mid-20s, he got caught up in doing heroin. Mm-hmm. He got caught up in strong-arming a pizza delivery driver and a sandwich delivery driver and such. And
how much time did he do?
18 months. He got caught by going to the pizza place and applying for a job. Mm-hmm. So when he got
the same place he robbed?
The same place he strong-armed a delivery driver out on the street. He went to that place to apply for a job for delivery driving. Well, he went to prison for that. He made a phone call to me. I ended up giving him money for commissary and everything to make some kind of normalcy of his life so that he wouldn't be, I don't know, you want to call it institutionalized or get used to the fact that you had some kind of normalcy of the outside world. I got him out 3 months prior to his release date, which was 18 months of rehab and everything else.
What year?
2017 in November.
All right.
3 days before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
The agreement with that judge was I employed him with my company. I have a heating and air conditioning company. I employed him. I kept him off of drugs. He stayed at my house, and he stayed clean.
How'd you keep him off drugs?
Well, being in my care, that's what I would say to the judge.
You were with him 24/7?
Well, in my house and employing with me.
You didn't go to sleep?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay.
Right.
You can't keep a person off drugs by kidnapping them.
Right.
Go ahead.
But the best I possibly could at that point.
Got it.
Prior to this whole situation of being employed with me and out of prison, roughly 4 to 5 months later, he started smoking marijuana again.
Was he part of NA or anything?
No. At that point, I had to sit down, talk with him. I says, I can't stop you. You're an adult. You can do what you will at that point. And I want to say at that point he was out of my house because we had a disagreement, misunderstandings of life in general, of what I expected of him. He got caught up in strong-arming a pizza delivery driver and a sandwich delivery driver.
How much time did he do?
18 months. He got caught by going to the pizza place and applying for a job. When he got
the same place he robbed?
The same place he strong-armed a delivery driver out on the street.
Defendant Dustin Lukowski is being sued by his father, who claims Dustin was addicted to pills and went to prison for robbing a delivery driver.
Let me allow him to catch up, then we'll get back. Sir?
Okay. Roughly, yeah. Sure, I could say I had a rather rough childhood back and forth between my mother and father.
So you were angry about that or something?
Not necessarily angry, more disappointed because he was more focused on his career and having another girlfriend or other things like that.
How often did you see him?
I'm sorry?
How often did you talk or see him?
Court order was supposed to be every other weekend, and he was supposed to pay child support.
How often did you see him?
Whenever he had time. Roughly, it was supposed to be Friday, Saturday, dropped off on Sunday. Might not come get me on Friday or till Saturday, I'm sorry. As far as paying child support, he never paid it on time. So that put my mother in a bind because she was basically a single parent raising 2 other children also. I did go to JJC one time for a stupid act, whatnot. I apologize, I did have time for what I committed. I did my time, and I got court ordered to get my GED, which helped me out in the long run. So I do have my GED, all that. I went to college, all that good stuff.
Good. Where'd you go?
I went to Ivy Tech.
Good.
I can't say that I graduated because of unfortunately, the drug situation.
You relapsed or something?
No, it wasn't really a relapse. It just took off because.
You still doing heroin?
No.
Okay.
So
you did
I would be 3 years clean on Cinco de Mayo of this year.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Good.
He got me out of jail 3 months early by hiring a lawyer for $1,500, which I paid back every single cent.
Did he?
Yes, he did.
Good. What did you all have a disagreement over when you moved back home?
My hobby is to shoot darts. Go do dart leagues at night and things like that. Well, I'm 27 years old. He wants me at home at 9 o'clock at night.
Is that true?
That was true.
27 years old.
You did right.
I was at work every day on time. He drug tested me. Now I told him at the same token, I will fail for marijuana. He was looking for pills, heroin, benzos, things of that nature. He gave me his drug test. Came to my house personally, gave me a drug test. I passed it. Now,
right, so let's get into that, sir. He says he began working for you, and obviously you were testing him regularly, or what? Tell me that whole scenario. He began working with you. What was the agreement, and what occurred?
I'm suing him for the $3,000 because when I got him out of prison, I took him to the dentist, dentist, and said, you know what, your teeth are messed up. I want to give you a fresh start. I want you to be confident, because he never wanted to smile because his teeth were messed up. He couldn't qualify for the payment arrangement and financing for it because it was like $4,200 or $4,500 for all new dentures. So I said, all right, I want you to get on the right track. I'll co-sign for you, but you have to make the $121 a week or a month payment. No problem, Dad. I'll make that payment, he says.
How'd he go with the payments?
He made payments for a while, and then September of this year, I got court payments that I'm being sued.
Okay. How did it go on the job when he was working for you?
If there was something that I didn't like, how he installed a furnace or gas lines or whatever, because I have a heating and air company, he got upset about or mad. And it became down to a match between both of us of how it should be done. And I'm the owner.
In your business, right.
Right.
Just like he had to move out of your house because that was your rule.
Right.
9 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Whatever time you tell him to be in is your house. So can't abide by the rules.
Right.
This is my business. You think you know more than me? You might. But I want to do it wrong. Go ahead.
Right. So I didn't fire him for the simple fact of him being on drugs or smoking marijuana. A lot of it was for the insubordination.
Give me an example
of employment. He'd give me, and right in a customer's basement, well, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that gas pipe. It's fine. And it was nowhere close that I would leave it for a house. It looked like a 2-year-old did it. It worked, but it wasn't to my standards, to what I leave things to.
So you all would go back and forth over all that. We would go back and forth. And so at some point you just said, I've had enough.
Exactly.
We're going to have to change this. All right. 6
months prior to me firing him, I found out he bought, I'm not sure what kind of pills, whether it was Vicodin or whatnot, and he said he bought them because he needed extra money and was selling them. Well, no. That becomes you're a dealer.
Sir, let me hear from you. He says he fired you. Among other things, you were selling pills 6 months before.
He fired me because of a rumor that he thought that I sold pills. Had no evidence behind it, nothing,
so you weren't.
Except word of mouth.
So you weren't, right?
Or was not.
Okay, you never did that. All right.
The reason I fell behind on the bill was because he accused me of something that I did not do. I passed your drug test for what you were looking for. I'm not going to be employed by some, regardless of father's situation or not.
He said you were insubordinate and you couldn't comply with his requirements and his standards for his place of employment.
And that may be true, but at the same token, the way he comes at me is completely different than the way that he would come at his regular employees.
That's when you quit if you don't like it.
I quit because he kept accusing me of doing things I'm not doing.
All right.
I mean, who wants to stick around, whether father or not? Who wants to be around somebody that?
What was he accusing you of? What type of things?
Still getting high, shooting up heroin, doing pills, selling drugs.
All right, but you also admit that you all couldn't get along with you meeting his expectation as an employee, right? You said that may be true.
I guess
so. If that is true, that's enough. Whether you're getting high or not, if I'm the boss, it's my business, and I'm telling you to do it one way and you won't. You're debating with me all the time and you want to be right. Then yeah, but now you got to go.
Defendant Dustin Lukowski is being sued by his father, who claims Dustin was addicted to pills and went to prison for robbing a delivery driver.
And the lost wages are for you having to come to court?
Yes.
All right. But you have a legitimate reason to come to court because you want your money. And it's not frivolous. Everybody that has to come to court that's being sued can't get lost wages just because they had to come to court for a trial or for a case. All right. And your unreturned property, sir, how does he owe you for that?
Because when I went to jail, when I went to prison, I got locked up. I was gone for roughly 19 months. My mother gave him my property because she had to move, so she gave him my stuff to store. There's a sectional, a bunch of, kitchen things, and then I have it's $100 to $200 or $150 to $200 bowling ball plus a couple extra bowling balls that I would like to retrieve. They have my name on them personally, and then for missing out 2 or 3 days of or a week or so of work because I had to find another job because he fired me without cause.
So you want to sue the business owner for firing you? Did you have a contract with him?
Did not.
Okay, well, it's at-will employment. He's able to...
He never presented a contract to me either, so I mean...
Yeah, that means he didn't want to have one with you. Employers don't have to have a contract with their employees. They want to be able to terminate that employee at will. Okay. That means without a cause. That means... I just don't want you to work here no more. He can do that,
and that's
if you don't have a contract.
Right, and that's the reason I fell back on the payments because I had to find another job.
And that's understandable, but you can't retrieve lost wages because you were terminated from your job if it was a legal termination. With regard to your property, sir, what do you say to property he says you were storing?
I have 2 bowling balls in the back of the courtroom of his. I have the sectional that was mine and I gave him.
Where's that at? In back of the courtroom too?
It is at my shop. And all the boxes of kitchen utensils, clothes that he left and everything. I've had this before he left to prison. And when I fired him, I gave him 30 days to remove it from my...
You want the items or the money, sir? Sir?
Money.
All right, and I see your lost wages was for $300, and the property was for $275. So I'm going to grant you $275 for the property, and sir, I'm going to grant you your $3,000. He admits to owing. He just says he can't pay you because he was out of work, which is understandable, but still doesn't get you out of the debt. $3,000 is your judgment. $275 is yours. The furniture is all yours. You just bought it for $275. That's a good deal. Have a good day.
Absolutely nothing. It's going to continue the way it is now.
I'd love for our relationship to get better. All I want him to do is stop doing drugs and pay his bills like he's supposed to.